current version that is now out for public consultation, for a second and final public consultation. I've been supporting quite a bit on PA14 relating to Indigenous peoples. So that's a performance area that we know has received a lot of feedback. I would, very comfortably can say it was probably the PA that received one of the largest amounts of feedback from a variety of stakeholders and rights holders. And so as a result, it's the one that we've probably changed the most significantly since the last public consultation with the current draft. And to be honest, I do expect that following this, it is probably one that will continue to sort of shift and shape. But I did want to highlight some of the key sort of areas that we have strengthened within this performance area. One of the sort of points of feedback that we heard was that the PA and in general the standard wasn't closely aligning with what is expected of companies at the good practice level and in regards to international frameworks that already exist. So what we really tried to do throughout the whole entirety of the performance areas, of the 24 performance areas across the standard, is to ensure that there is much more close alignment with what is expected in terms of good practice for responsible mining companies. And so for PA14, that's really ensuring alignment with the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, and ILO 169, and of course elements relating to free, prior, and informed consent. And I'll get into that maybe later on. Another area that we really strengthened was when there are potential impacts around relocation of affected Indigenous peoples and potential impacts to significant impacts to critical cultural heritage. We heard very clearly and strongly that the standard needs to make sure that that is a baseline requirement. So we actually ended up moving that requirement from the good practice level to towards good practice level, which is sort of the initial entry level of this standard. So we really took that feedback on. We've strengthened the language and we've shifted it to that level. A third area where I think has been a really positive development is that we've added a new requirement to recognize Indigenous peoples' involuntary isolation and initial contact. So that was, we did not have a requirement in the initial draft, and so we've now created a requirement at the towards good practice level again, so that entry level, which signifies that if a facility has the chance of impacting such vulnerable communities' rights, and they're, the fact that they want to remain in isolation, then that's something that a facility really needs to ensure that they are taking a precautionary approach and not encroaching on these territories. So, thanks.
Thanks, Arj. Harald, I will give you one last because I know you need to dash. Responsible mining and responsible mining practices are still not norm globally, despite the fact that we've been working on this for a very, very long time trying to achieve this. Why do you think that there's still a lot of work left to be done in this space? Very easy question.
I think times have changed now. So we see more accountability now globally, and I think that's a business sector waking up to that. And I'm hopeful. I want to look forward to how to raise that ambition. And I don't want to delve so much why it has not happened so far. I think that organizations like yours are so crucial to get more buy-in. And I think it's so nice what you say, Kristen, it's this overload on standards on your side. I can only imagine. So a consolidation there, and I say always one that is open to more people to sign up and also leave their mark, is a positive thing. And it's so interesting what you are saying, that the topic around indigenous and land was one of the most, that received most feedback, which gives us, I think, a license to operate, to say we have to do more there. Which is, I think, one of the big call-outs and calls to action for all of us. Decarbonizing the sector is good. Keeping it, I think, positive on in connection to nature, but also definitely on the people side. I think that is something we should, hopefully together with you, make a proactive topic towards next COP. And my personal and also the Climate Champions ambition is to have as many people as possible sign up to the process and to the standard, so we can actually show progress. The Brazilian government and the presidency has reminded us it's about implementation. Whoever the next COP will be and wherever it will be, I'm sure it will build on this, and hopefully once more deals signed, wants to have more agreements happen, and I think a standard can be a vehicle to deliver that, and that would be my personal wish. And we are standing there to support that. Thank you.
Thank you, Harold. And I mean, absolutely agree. And you know, we've obviously worked very closely with yourselves and your colleagues on these issues, and look forward to continue to do so, because it is, you know, important that we make sure